see the on-air thing? Oh, there we go. Okay. Well, that's not the introduction I wanted to make, but hello and welcome to the very first Buddyspoiler live stream, I think. It is the first one?
Yeah, this is the first time we've done a live stream.
All right. Well, there's 3 of us here. I'm the Night Shadow. Hunter Serge is here, as well as SaiScott.
Hello.
And each of us has kind of like a major topic we want to talk about, so that's why we're all here.
Yeah. All right, so first up is the regular list, correct?
Yeah, I think we were going to cover the regular list first. It was going to be just a Q&A, Buddyspoiler live stream, but I figured that we could just tack on this as well because the regular list dropped earlier this week, and, well, I mean, what better time to talk about it than now?
Exactly.
All
let
right,
me just pull it up and have it up on stream for everyone to see.
Sure. And while you're doing that, I'm going to go and discuss Bushiroad's internal philosophy, because I think that's going to be a really key factor in understanding why some of these cards were hit and why some others weren't. Besides Menjo, every single one of those cards fits in with their internal philosophy. And that really mainly comes down to if they released a card on the show, then they made as many paints as possible, like as many moves as possible to not hit those cards.
Yeah.
You'll notice that Gear Guy 1000 was hit, but Auto Deity Bots was not hit. To give one example. That's one of the things that Bushiroad takes into priority for Buddy Fight. The other thing that's really key here is that they tried as much as possible to not hit precons. They ended up hitting a lot from the dual chest, but mainly
basically everything that was seeing play from the dual chest.
Basically, well, seeing worldwide play, I should say, because there are some people trying out other things with it too. But definitely, as much as possible, they tried to avoid hitting the precons. I did get through to Bushiroad and did ask one specific question of why there was no clause inserted for, say, Chaos Death Telica. How come it couldn't be used as a precon card? Just if you only own the precon deck, like, how come you can't do that? And the response was that we didn't print enough for it to be worth making that clause.
Wait, which card was that?
Death Telica, because like you can't use it in any deck whatsoever, right?
Right.
And same thing with Lattice to Chaos. You can't use it in Chaos. So the question I asked was, how come you didn't put some sort of like clause that if you're running only the dual chest deck, you can use those 2 cards?
Yep.
And the response back was effectively something along the lines of, well, we didn't print enough, so we didn't think the clause was worth it. Also, we don't print those anymore, so.
All right.
So those were the 2 things. But anyways, generally, those are the couple of reasons why the cards were hit the way they were hit. And besides that, I think we can get on to discussing each individual card and why it's on the list.
Yes. Okay, I believe it should be showing now. I think it is. Tell me if it's showing correctly. This should be it. Think it's showing? Think it should be screen sharing?
I don't see it.
Okay. Google Hangouts is annoying, evidently. Okay.
I will load it up on Firefox since the thing is live, and I'll see if I can just watch the feedback and see if it's showing. Go ahead and try.
Let's try this again. Share. I should be doing it. Please. Present to everyone. Please. Please do the thing. Is it doing the thing? Oh, it's because it's Chrome. Chrome doesn't like Chrome. Okay, I understand. Understand the problem.
What we can do then is that
I'm about to load it up on Firefox. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. Sure. Sorry for the growing pains here, guys. We just.
But so while we're talking about the regular list, shoot any questions you have about the site, and we will answer. Me and Scott will answer them when we get to that section. That'll be after we finish talking about the regular list. Okay. Okay, should be able to get it now. Stop it. Screen share. Application window. A regular list. Okay. Is it showing now? Okay, now it's showing. All right. Yes, this is the...
okay, that's what you're doing. Okay.
Yeah,
fair enough. Yeah. It is blurry on my end, but I don't know if that's just because it's my end. Anyways, I mean, I think everybody that has heard of the Irregular List knows the very first card.
Yes, Professor.
That's on the list. Yeah,
that's the thing that everyone knew was going to be hit when this happened. Like, there was no way this wasn't going to happen.
So what part of the ability do you think caused it to be like this?
Well, honestly, there were problems that happened with every part of the ability. Like, when Menjo first came out, there were these loop decks that were just returning 8 cards and like getting their deck down low enough and just putting back 8 cards and looping like that. And that's what caused the once per turn restrictions to be hit on Gambit, as well as the Blue Sky Knights infinite loop deck that was happening around the same time.
Yeah. I think all 3 of those abilities were, shall we say, problematic. Sure. If it had been restricted to just Legend World and Hero World cards, would it have been as degenerate?
No. Actually, yes. Sorry, I meant to say yes. It would have been just as degenerate. The only thing I can think of that would really stop it from being that degenerate is if it was attribute limited to Toilet and Superhero.
You can't call this unless your buddy is a Toilet or Superhero?
No. If it could only return Toilet and Superhero cards.
With different names?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Or
potentially super restrictive.
Same name. That might have been fine with the same name, but basically it needed to be that return to deck effect needs to be limited. And maybe the search effect too. Maybe.
My fix for it actually would have been because I did my own Irregular List just off to the side, and I wanted to see how close I was to everything. My fix for Menjo was twofold. I either changed a card or I changed how the extra turn mechanics work. And I like the extra turn mechanic change better, but if I had to change Menjo to be, shall we say, not broken, it would be you could only return different card names if there's a second copy of that card in the drop zone.
Yeah.
That turns off a lot of loops.
Another way that they could have fixed it, but, well, actually, back in the day, how often, like back in set 2, before Menjo started becoming a real problem card, how many times in a game would Toilets typically use Menjo's full effect?
The full effect?
Yes.
Once if the game went long enough.
Yeah. So one of my original fixes, and I thought that this would be good to apply to all of the extra turn cards as well, which I still think would be a good thing to apply because those cards are obviously still risky, and when they're good, they don't create satisfying game environments, is just apply a once per game restriction. And in the case of Menjo and Impact Menjo, I would have only had the once per game restriction happen if you got the full effect off.
That's okay. That's a little hard to do because like it's a 3-stage ability and they all apply at the same time.
Yeah.
Type thing.
It basically would have been like if you return 12, this ability name cannot be used for the rest of the game.
I think it'd have to be 12 or more.
Yeah. That's what I meant. Like, as a
Okay.
part of that 12 or more ability, it would also say this ability cannot be used for the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm. And in that case, you'd have to give it an ability name as well.
Yeah.
But it's off limits, so that means they really didn't want to hit Grandfather Clock then.
Yep. I think they're just delaying the inevitable with that, though. Eventually, Grandfather Clock and the other one, or one of the other ones, extra turn ability effects is going to become a problem again, and they're going to need to do something about it. And I really would have liked for them to just fix it here by just slapping a once per game restriction on them and being done with it.
Well, my thought actually regarding the entire thing was just to stop the looping in general, which is, yeah, once per game might end up working, but then you can just spam on multiple different types of take an extra turn. So what I was thinking is that you can only store up one extra turn per player, and you cannot store up an extra turn during an extra turn. That would stop all the loops.
Well, sure, but like the different extra turn cards aren't really all that compatible with each other. Like the best you could get is like 2 together, and those decks don't have very high damage output in the first place. Like what makes them able to do what they do is that they get they get into this loop of getting all these extra turns. If even if you built a deck that could consistently get both the World's extra turn and Grandfather Clock's extra turn, if those were both only once per game, that would not be enough to make a problem deck.
Yeah, I can see that too. All I'm saying is that this also shuts out the loop of taking extra turns during your opponent's turn, which isn't a thing right now, but can be a problem.
Yeah, I guess. I'll really see.
I actually, off the record, I actually asked Bushiroad if what would happen if like the question that you asked me, Serge, in private, I ended up asking Bushiroad themselves. And one of the judges jokingly responded back to me that they're just going to ban whoever actually does it if it ends up having extra turn versus extra turn.
Oh.
It was a Japanese judge too, so it was pretty funny.
Okay.
Oh, man. Anyways, I think that's enough said about that card. That card really did a number on a lot of things. It was just super unfun to play against, and like the only thing is that I did have an answer in play. It's like when you play Zayabola and then they go to play the size 0 Menjo, you can cast any spell in response to the call, and your auto ability will take precedence over anything and kill the Menjo before they have a chance to use their act. But limiting it to 1 or 2 decks that can deal with it is kind of bad. So So I guess it's okay that it's hit now. Now the question is, will there be any additions to that sort of hit? And well, I guess I'll have to see.
Yeah. I think Chaos Death Talk is one that we definitely need to talk a bit in depth about, because like most people understand why it was hit for the Chaos, because Chaos's most consistent build is probably going to look more like the XP204 build, and that would do really ridiculous things with Death Talca typically. But a lot of people don't really understand why it was banned across all flags.
I think the Dragon's Y one is obvious, though.
Yeah.
Being banned in both Dragon's Y and Dragon Eye is just because you get to reuse all the things that you just sent to the drop zone, and having an infinite deck when you have the ability, in Y, for example, to just straight up neutralize an opponent's abilities or opponent drawing cards or stuff like that. You basically get to lock out the game because you get to redo everything. And you get to also stack your deck too.
Yeah.
Actually,
I think
the stacking the deck is actually more relevant to Darkness Dragon World, sorry.
Yeah.
So for Dragon's Y, Dragon 9, it's basically because you get to reuse everything that let you basically lock out the game. And in the case of Darkness Dragon World, it's because you get to stack your deck. You can basically mill yourself to one card, use that Talica, call over it, and then stack your deck literally the way you want. Yeah. And when you know what you're going to draw, it's broken in DDW, especially as how strong of a control like they are right now.
Like, this sort of effect wasn't really a problem when it was completely restricted to an attribute. So you had to, like, just build around that attribute, and the stuff that you could stack was limited to that attribute. Wasn't so much a problem. But when it's on something that can put back any monster as well, then it becomes a big potential problem that really shouldn't have happened in the first place.
Do you think it would be hit across all flags if it didn't, if it could only bottom deck size 3 monsters?
No, I don't think it would. I don't see a see a reason to do it in that case.
It's just too universal in this case.
Yeah.
Like, it's so easy to basically stack your deck.
Yeah. Like, it's just asking for some problem to happen later on.
And I think the biggest strike. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
The one I am personally a bit confused about is Gambit's limit to 1.
Before we move on, then.
Okay.
Detalika, there's one last point I want to make about this. And that having a single card that negates an entire win con, which, by the way, is milling, is a bad design.
Yeah.
And that's really the last nail in the coffin for Detalika.
Yeah.
At least Chaos Detalika, rather.
Yeah. Okay,
Gambit. So, every single one of these cards was a major complaint from the Japanese community. And it's not that the Western side wasn't heard. It's more like there was a lot louder voices coming from the Japanese community about these cards. Gambit is the linchpin in literally all of this. If you'll notice, the very first errata type thing that was done is Gambit's once per turn. You only cast this once per turn. And it's because it enabled stuff.
If we're talking only within X, there were 2 erratas that happened during Triple D.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry. But basically, Gambit's first errata was to try and take away all those loops, because being able to abuse on-play abilities and then reuse them over and over because they weren't named was really powerful. And it got even worse when the dungeon loop started happening and danger loop started happening. Like, danger loop never saw tournament play, tournament winnings, but basically Gambit is a 4 of, even in like 3 or 4 ofs in pretty much every single possible deck that utilized a loop. And basically, no, we're just cutting it to 1 now, so that there's no possible way to abuse the on-play loops anymore. Gambit is still not completely banned because of its relevance in chess, but other than that, it's really kicked to the curb.
All right. Well, if the dungeon loop was coming into consideration at when this ban list was being made, I don't understand.
Dungeon loop was a thing before the list that talked.
Okay.
Like, I'm talking about earlier loops.
It's a different loop?
There are other loops. There's basically, I think the only world that didn't have a loop was Katana.
So are you talking about an infinite loop, or?
Think about it in the style of Menjo, long enough so that you actually could finish the game. Or, in the case of Dungeon, long enough so that you will never lose from life out.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And
I think Ancient and Danger function kind of a similar way. Like, you get to a certain amount of life and you just don't die.
Okay. Regarding Gambit and the things that got errata alongside it back in the summer, it's interesting to note that just like the erratas that happened at the start of Triple D, these were all cards from the first 2 sets. And after that point, a number of syntax things ended up changing. So I think that Gambit and its ilk really only ever happened in the first place because of the era in which they were created. And if they had been created after that point in the game, then they probably would have had once per turn restrictions on them in the first place, or maybe wouldn't have even been printed.
Completely agree.
Okay. Now, with that said, on to the chaos.
Okay. So the first one that's off limits, and the only other one that's off limits in the entire list, is Lotus the Chaos.
Yes. I was personally very happy to see Lotus the Chaos only off limits for the Chaos, because, like, well, the whole thing that makes Lotus the Chaos a problem is the Chaos's infinite size and the fact that, like, this isn't going to be your only attacker. Wild Dragons are able to make proper use of Lotus the Chaos now and able to make it into a multi-attacker, but it requires a lot of investment to do that. So it's not really a problem card over there.
Yeah, exactly. One other thing I think about Lotus the Chaos is that it has that protection ability, and it doesn't cost gauge, which the original Lotus did.
Yeah.
Or life,
I remember when I was playing around with auto deities, and I just put in a couple of lattice, and, like, the moment I got lattice, auto deities generated such a ridiculous amount of hand advantage that I would never lose that lattice. And I ended up with so much gauge most of the time that anything my opponent would do to try and break my formation would just end up nullified. Or if they tried to asterism effect to survive, it would just end up nullified. And it was just, that is ridiculous. And especially now, like, even if we push Chaos back to XPTO4 version, they still have Chaos Gear now. So they're going to have all this fodder for Lotus the Chaos regardless. And it's really a problematic card within what Chaos can do with it.
Mm-hmm. It's just how do I put it? It's like the one Japanese TEF player said, if Chaos gets a spell null, then why don't we get a spell null?
Yeah.
Something along those lines, anyways.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna bring in one question from the chat because it's relevant to the regular list. Light Gamer Imatrasu says, "I'm honestly kind of surprised they didn't hit Chaos Gear or Chaos Orzer Kleins." Okay,
so Chaos Gear is too new of a card to actually get hit. You'll notice that all these cards that got hit are kind of a couple sets ago. None of them are like the most recent set.
Zyndo Beta.
Okay, Zyndo Beta is a thing we'll get to in a second. But besides that, none of that got hit. And it's mainly because Chaos Gear is not a card you want to start the game with, especially if it starts clogging your hand. And as a 4 in a deck, it's really, really poor. Most decks were running at most 2 or 3. So limiting it to 1 doesn't actually change its potential strength. Because Zyndo Beta would just be able to search it.
Really impact its use.
So yeah, So Chaos Gear, I don't think will get hit because that's really the only major plus they have. There's not really a card that says, okay, I'm gonna +2 or +3 selectively or whatever, unless it's an overkill or overkill reboot.
Yeah.
Even Chaos Millennium doesn't fulfill that. It's just like, okay, you just replace 1 for 1 and then gain engage to play it.
So really, like, considering the nature of the deck, Daryl Burke and all of them are basically just straight +1s. So, but,
Sort of. I mean, like, they're technically replacements, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Chaos Gear is at most a +2.
Yeah.
The one that, I guess the thing that makes it really powerful is just the fact that it's really selective, and you can effectively say, okay, well, I just want this here, and now I get to revive it. Well, that idea is completely gone too. So,
yeah.
As for hitting Chaos Orzer Kleins, it's one of the few ways they have to bottom deck cards now, and you can't take that really away from them. I mean, like, it's sure it replaced Chaos Osiris, but Osiris wasn't really that good in the first place. It was only just there because it was just a replacement. Orzer Kleins also requires the deck to play a lot more spells, so you can't do your XVTO2 stuff where you're only playing like 4 or 8 spells at most.
Yeah.
And so you have to flood the deck a bit more with spells, so maybe like 12 or 15, which gets the problem when you start with an opening hand of 4 spells and you can't do really anything with it. It's a lot easier to break the more spells you put into the deck. So having to do that kind of makes Sorcerer Climb fair-ish. I mean, yeah, it's still powerful, but not to a point of really, really broken.
Yeah. All right. Now 3 of these should come pretty obvious why they're here. Gear God 1000, Launch to Auto DD, and Zyndo Beta are all here for the same reason. They want to limit Gear God 1000, but if they don't limit those 2 as well, well, you have a Searcher, and you have a Searcher for the Searcher.
Mm-hmm.
Very simple. And even with all that, if you're playing Infinity, which you probably are, you still have a potential Searcher for 1000, so you know.
I was actually hoping that they would apply what I thought was going to happen to Zyndo Beta, which was this card cannot search for cards that don't have worlds. That's what I was thinking. So they couldn't search for Chaos Gear, can't search for Chaos Millennium, can't search for Chaos Upgrade, can't search for Launch the Auto DD.
Yeah.
And I figured that would be fair. But I guess not.
But like even then, Zyndo Beta is like search what Zyndo Beta allowed Chaos decks to do of just putting all of their spells to like 2 or 1-ofs was just ridiculous. And even if it was limited to just searching things with worlds, that still wouldn't quite be fair. Zyndo Beta, I think Zyndo Beta got limited both for the fact that it was a Searcher for the Searcher and for the fact that it was just ridiculous in the consistency it gave Chaos.
It's just a consistency, really. It's not just a search for the Searcher. You could ban the Searcher and it would still be limited to 1.
Yeah.
It's just really, really powerful. Like the ability to say, I want this now, and basically this 1 card turns no matter what your hand is, into whatever you want on field.
Yeah, exactly. And then Machining Sacrifice is a hit again to the XB204 version of the deck.
No, Machining Sacrifice was even used in
but
so Machining Sacrifice is a hit on the Chaos gameplay. One of the things that ended up happening is because of how strong Auto DDs was that what you would end up having to do was to only attack Gear God when Tetra wasn't out. Because if you attack anybody else, then they can Machining Sacrifice it to basically nullify your attack and get an on-play ability at the same time.
Yeah.
So they'd have to go after Gear God, but Gear God has the best defenses usually of the entire deck, Tetra aside. Right. So what ended up happening is that they limited Machining Sacrifice to 1 so that it's actually possible for you to hit the opponent's creatures now, and it's fine.
Yeah.
You can attack into them, and you don't feel bad for having to play into Machining Sacrifice anymore.
Yeah. Didn't Machining Sacrifice just get a shop promo reprint in Japan though?
Sorry?
I think it was just 2 months ago Machining Sacrifice got a shop promo reprint in Japan. Yeah. I got 2 months ago they started doing the shop promo reprints, and they'd have the winter version be like it would have the gold border like SPs have, and the first of those was Machining Sacrifice. The one after that was Globes, and then the current one is Star Believer.
Well, those are all really good cards. One of which just got hit.
Yep. So, anything else to say regarding the Chaos hits?
I guess nothing really else. It's just that now that Gear God 1000 is hit to 1, do you think we go back to 499 or do you go back to 4 Gear God 7?
No, I think decks are either going to fall into the camp of being super infinity focused, which will probably use 99. Yeah, I think in all cases they just go back to 99.
I actually went back to 7 because I was of the opinion that the Auto DD deck was the most consistent version of Chaos, and that's why I kept topping. But the Gear God 7 variant had a higher ceiling, a much higher ceiling. It's just that it also had a much lower floor. So now that I'm going back to GG7 and experimenting along those lines. I still have upgrade and I still have the ability to turbo into it, but I think having the higher ceiling is more attractive to me right now.
And like all this isn't to say that auto DD isn't viable. It's just you have a huge risk of bricking with these hits. And
well, not necessarily huge. It's just like it's more like 4 or 5 times more than before, which is like not that it was really small before. So
yeah. And with that, I think we can move on to the Thunder Emperor's Fangs hits, which are pretty simple. Termination to 1 because of the main advantage engine. This was the one that gave you the most choice, and it was also the best one that was from another world. So it really helped enable, like, just having this thing on the field just enabled Sphere and like get goal +2 from that play, and it was silly. Loud voice, because this was the thing that was most important to hit, because loud voice at 4 meant they basically always had loud voice, and could just shut down your opponent's turn by discarding 2 to 3, which was easy for them to have that much in hand. And then Fire's Oath just to limit their resource acceleration.
Mm-hmm. One of the questions I was asked, actually, in one of my private chats was, how come they didn't hit Loud Voice in Dragon World?
Well, I think they actually should have done that.
And my main answer was that they don't have as much of an advantage engine as TEF does. It's really easy to discard cards in TEF, and they actually help you get to your bonuses.
But Sun
okay, hold on. Happen. But discarding cards in Dragon World doesn't necessarily mean you can reuse them immediately. That's the thing.
Yeah. Well, unless Sun Dragons.
Well, granted, but Sun Dragons weren't that good before, and if they get out of hand, then sure, they should be hit. But Sun Dragons were never anything higher than, what, tier 3?
Yeah.
Like, they were really, really bad. They were Gao's worst deck by far. Worse than Crimson's.
But by the same token, Bushiroad knew what they were printing for Sun Dragons, so I get where this complaint comes from.
Well, we'll see. I mean, like, if Sun Dragons actually become a real big problem, then we'll probably have a revisit on this list pretty soon.
Yeah.
But for now, I don't see Loud Voice actually being a problem in Dragon World, because it's not like the discard pile is another hand you have access to.
Well, I'll say again, Sun Dragons. It definitely is a problem in the context of Sun Dragons, because like they enable Awakening super easily just because like, oh, any balls delay, okay, it's enabled. And they generate, and for that same reason, they're able to take advantage of Thunder Empire's new draw spell from Final Chief, and they're able to accumulate big hand thanks to that and Sun Dragon's new advantage engine cards.
Mm-hmm.
As well as the new Dragon Force, being able to call impact monsters from the drop zone, et cetera, et cetera. Like, tons of ways for them to abuse Loud Voice.
Yeah. My fix to Loud Voice would have actually been to limit the discarding of cards from hand to 1.
Yeah, that might have. Yeah, just make it discard 1.
And that's it.
For 3K, 1K. Yeah. But I've seen a bunch of people saying that they think the Thunder Emperor Fangs hits were too light, that Thunder Emperor's Fangs are going to be the best deck in the game. I think a lot of people saying that don't understand that Thunder Emperor's Fangs were in a much worse spot than Chaos, like still above most decks, but they did not need the amount of hits that Chaos needed.
That, however, I mean, like, before Solar Strike comes out, definitely TEF did get hit hard by this. The question is whether the new bots will revive it.
Well, the thing is that these hits really hurt the viability of going multi-world in the first place. Like, big parts of what made that engine strong at all are now hit, and it makes like going for that kind of build kind of risky when you could just go for the overthrow build.
Yeah. Or the best friends build.
Yeah. Well, you mean Future Force DX?
Not necessarily Future Force DX, but the build that runs bots, ball, and drum. It doesn't have to run Future Force, but it's a nice tech at the side.
I haven't seen like anything happen from that build, so I'm skeptical.
Of course. I pay attention to the decks that also finish second and third, not just first. So I'm watching out for stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right. So there's a couple questions that we got regarding the list as well. Tempest the Scene. I hope I get your name right. Is there anything you wish had been on the list?
Well, I was about to say that if there was one other thing that I think maybe should have been hit for Thunderburst Fangs, I think that Awakening probably should have been hit for similar reasons that with the Gear God 1000 hit, they also hit things that could search it or search for the search.
Awakening of the Thunder Emperor?
Yeah, because that card can just get back any card. The Loud Voice hit doesn't mean as much as it could, because once you get that one, you can then use Awakened to get it back.
I'm not remembering what that card does. Red Thunder Emperor's Awakening. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. It's the Gauge 1, Gain 1 life.
That's why I was...
more cards and drop zone, get any card back.
Right.
And 6 or more.
Sorry, I was thinking of the other card, but yes, okay.
And that card is just really ridiculous card advantage wise. So like just in general, probably should have been hit. And
thankfully, super weak to Demolition Bite.
And like I would have if I had been in charge of hitting that card, I would have hit it across all flags. Because Butcher should know what's coming with Sun Dragons, and if they seriously didn't realize what was going to happen with Sun Dragons and Awakened and Loud Voice and Warlord Sword release, I'm left to question Butcher's competence a bit.
Well, you have to remember that the Japanese teams don't actually have an active playtest team. It's only the English side of the game that actually do.
Wait, really?
Yes, in all games. Vanguard, Weiss, Buddy Fight, Luck and Logic, Dragonborn. Only the English side of the game has a playtest team. If there is a playtest team on the Japanese side, it's cobbled together and it's not dedicated. It goes around and does all the games.
So does the English side playtesting team like actually help determine these restriction lists and stuff?
In a way, yes. And in some ways, no. But like I mentioned, the major factor between this list was that every single one of these was a major complaint by the Japanese community.
All right.
The playtest team typically, the Buddy Fight playtest team specifically is for watching for which promos should be released at what time. So if you're wondering why Chaos Valveros didn't get released until super late, that's because they felt it would be too problematic too early.
Okay. So they the English playtesting team is for that sort of thing. They do actually. Okay. I've always wondered about that sort of thing.
Okay.
All right. So is there anything that you would have added to the Irregulars list if you had been in charge?
Well, I mean, if I had all the rest of my changes, then the only other thing I would have changed is that Plague can't get over 15 life. There's a big problem I had with Plagues being able to stall. But with these changes in place, I don't need to do that because Black Dragon controls a better stall deck than Plague right now.
Okay.
Because the main reason to play Plague was Enigma Virus would shut down the Auto DD engine. That's no longer a problem. Well, no longer a big problem. So its main niche is gone, and so Black Dragon Control has been already the more steady deck and the stronger core. It's just that Plague had that Enigma Virus, and now that's not a thing anymore.
Yeah. All right. I understand. All right.
Don't worry, Dragon Z. I wasn't intending to hit Plague because of, I hate it. I mean, I'm a Magic World main, so I like Plague too. It's just I felt that it needed to get hit based on what I saw from before. But with this list, I don't see it needing to be hit.
Anime X Manga, I think you will find the card is called Loyalty, not Royalty, as BFA has continued to say for months.
There is a channel now to be able to fix BFA's errors. I'm sending some stuff in soon.
This stuff bugs me so much.
But yeah, it's loyalty.
It bugs me so much because I put so much time. Like when I was working on BFA, I put so much time to making sure all of this stuff got updated. So that there wouldn't be this sort of confusion. Now that I'm not there, it's happening constantly. Not to mention my personally scanned in Yamigetos have been replaced with blurry Japanese scans for months, and that personally upsets me. But you know what? I'm not going to ramble too much.
Well, I mean, like, you also have to remember that BFA is kind of a UGA. I mean, a UGT. I mean, there's not much you can do to fix problems like, for example, playing errors or like the randoms that completely mess up decks or rules or stuff like that. There's not much you can do about that. It's a UGT for a reason.
It's not about that stuff. It's more about the card information side and the card images side that could be making those things less likely to happen. That care isn't taken anymore, and you know. It's frustrating.
Anyways, so that should be pretty much everything for that.
Yeah,
I think there was one other question. Just double checking here.
Do you mean the MS Paint Dragonine art that does not have Dragonine's rules attached to it and thus is unusable as actual Dragonine in BFA? Yes, I know about MS Paint Dragonine.
Oh, that was fun. That was a funny thing to see. Though, to be fair, the rules text aren't on the Exalted flags. So just because they're lacking the text doesn't necessarily mean they're not legal.
Yeah. Is there anything else?
Larisha, I don't believe that's accurate. They will be supporting Chaos in the future, just like they plan on supporting TEF in the future and all the previous stuff from before. It's just that there's been an oversaturation of lots of archetypes. So I would not be surprised if you're going to see basic decks in Ace. For example, I wouldn't be surprised if in Dragon World all you see is Armor Dragons again.
Yeah.
And with maybe one Sun Dragon card, one TEF card, and stuff like that. And that wouldn't surprise me because it's a lot of saturation right now, and that's where I think they're going.
All right.
And SaiScott, I guess you did hear Danger Loop. It was
Scott,
pretty much every world had a loop.
Go on to the second section now?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, Scott coming in, and we can answer the questions regarding the site.
Oh boy, there's a lot of them.
All right. I assume you have them compiled properly so that I don't have to go looking for them.
Yep, I got them.
I'll bow out here for now until I actually am needed, though I think there's not really many Q&A questions I can answer. So,
well, we're doing a Q&A section after this, right?
Yeah, I think I'll just a proper Q&A, not just Buddyspoiler, but like Q&A of anything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll be around. If there's a question that I can help with, I can stick around. I need to eat, though, so give me a moment.
Go do that.
Everything got quiet.
Yeah, because Bren left to go eat.
Right.
So now it's question time.
All right. So the majority of these are from Ryan Jacobs.
All right.
Yeah. First one. What made me want to start Buddyspoiler?
How many positive votes on that thing? And only one person is asking questions?
Yeah.
We got 15 positive votes on that, and only Ryan Jacobs is asking questions.
I also didn't ask him for a time that would be convenient either, though.
That's fair. That's fair. If you do have any questions, further questions, if you weren't able to catch the stream and you wanted to ask questions, just leave them in the comments, and we'll just like answer on a future podcast or live stream or something.
All right. So, first question is, what made me want to start Buddyspoiler? Oh, Joel, how many times have I given you crap about this one?
Okay, so basically, like, okay, this is. Do you want me to start this? Because I kind of want to start where I first started doing spoiler-related things.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so I think when I first started doing spoiler-related things, was when I first started going on Neo Arc Cradle, which some of you may know as a Yu-Gi-Oh forum, but there were Vanguard and Buddy Fight sections, and there was a Buddy Fight RP on there that was pretty good run, and I'm really embarrassed of how bad I was on there. But you know what? That's in the past. I can't change that. But
just because it's in the past doesn't mean that it's completely gone.
Yeah, I know it's not right now. Gone. Anyone can go find it, and that horrifies me. Okay,
I want to find it right now, honestly.
No, not allowed. But that just on that note, that was a really good roleplay concept, and I really love I believe it was Scarlett who ran it. If they ever want to try and run it again, I'd be completely in support of that because it was a really good roleplay concept. I did a bunch of things with like the disaster lore, and like was a much darker version of Buddy Fight. It was like Gao had died in the disaster. Tsuku had both Drum and Jack, and was trying to like permanently merge basically what Gon ends up trying to do, basically what Kyoya tries to do at the end of Triple D. Well, it was good. I enjoyed it a lot. Austin was also a part of that. But at that time, the person who was posting Koro spoilers first was the Yu-Gi-Oh! Org guy, Arcadia, I think it is, or whatever his name. He runs NAC, and he was the first one posting. And I would like because I was an immature little shit, I would race Austin to I would try to beat Austin to getting them posted to NA, and from there I gradually figured out. I gradually learned where the spoilers were coming from, found ways to get stuff translated without actually knowing Japanese, and over time I started using my Discord and my Facebook page to post spoilers, and I ended up becoming one of the premier sources of spoiler translations, usually up before the wiki. Well, are we? Is the stream fine? Getting a bit of slowdown on my end. Okay, stream's fine, I think. Are you guys sure the stream is fine? Because it's having troubles on my end. Okay, it seems to be fine. Okay, sorry about that. And at some I would be really careful about getting all the details right the first time. Do you want to take over at this point, Scott? Because this is the part where your end starts.
Well, pretty much I got a little bit impatient with Joel on some leaks, and I decided to do some translating for the Wikia because I was talking with my friend on them. And I found out that I was actually able to do it a little bit faster than Joel, but I wasn't able to do the syntax as good. I could do it, just not as good. But I was able to get the general translation done faster. So that happened for about, I think, one Koro before I decided to make Buddyspoiler. Yes. And to be fair, Buddyspoiler was not actually meant to be a thing. It was actually originally so I was talking to a friend about Magic and Mythic Spoiler, and I just wanted to show off that I could do coding fast enough that I could get one up in 25 minutes. And everyone on the North America group loved it, so it became a thing.
Yeah. And I want to say on my end that from way back in late 2014, early 2015, when the Yoden Golers group first formed, I from that very moment I had ideas in my head of hey, it would be really cool to make this Buddy Fight community center site where I can do all the spoiler stuff, where we could post Yoden Golers involved stuff. All of the people all of the creators from our community could post things there, like how a bunch of video game YouTubers would have joint websites that they would make together. That sort of thing was part of my partial idea, but I also wanted to use it for like spoilers and tournaments and stuff like that. So I think at some point I probably would have ended up asking Scott to make something like Buddyspoiler anyways, because I had that idea in my head, and if I was going to go to anyone for help with it, it was going to be Scott, because I've known him for since
almost 11 years.
Yeah, since like 2008, and I always went to him with graphic stuff, and I knew he was good with web design. So like, if I was going to go to someone for that idea, it was going to be Scott.
Now, do you remember back when Buddy Fight first started, and there was actually a Buddy Spoiler?
Yes, you converted your personal site into a database that lasted like a week.
No, it lasted halfway through the Burning Valor or whatever.
That's basically a week. That's like a month. Not much better.
Yeah. All right. Second question. Estimated time for the deck builder. Oh boy. So we have a lot of things we have to do before a deck builder goes up. A lot of things. First of all, we gotta have user accounts. And to have user accounts for public, I gotta have a terms of service and privacy policy. I've never written those before, so I'm trying to figure that out right now. And then after that, we got to have a reason to use the accounts. So we're going to do some smaller things first, like a comment system, a custom comment system, not that crappy Facebook one. And probably a discussion board where you can actually look at all the discussions across the site. So you don't have to click on this card and that card. It's just all right there on one page.
Yeah.
But another important thing we need to come up with is blogs for like at first, it's going to be just the administrators like me, Joel, and so on, because right now I'm the only one that can post information to the homepage on the website. So if I'm sick or on vacation or something, it just can't go up on the homepage.
Yeah, and there's like a lot of stuff that would be way easier to do if we could just use blogs to deliver some information. Like a bunch of the stuff that I end up having to put on set pages, I would way rather if I could just put that up as a blog post, or like I could do more detailed stuff on the information from Crow if I could just do it in a blog post, stuff like that.
We have all these other features that have to come before the deck builder, so yeah, we can't give an estimated time for it. Plus, a deck builder is going to take a lot of coding compared to the average thing, so that will depend heavily on like funding and whatnot. We're about caught up in funding right now, but with all these features we got to add before them, we don't know how behind we're going to get or anything, because we're fully funded by advertisements and Patreon. So
yes.
Yeah.
Actually, this is something that just came into my mind while we were talking about the user accounts. So right now there's a problem where we can't really do event. Like I really want to do event coverage and have like a big database of events, but we just don't have someone who can dedicate themselves to it. But something that did just pop into my mind is like, hey, wouldn't it be possible for us to like have a way for any user to like submit event stuff, and then staff members could just approve it, and that could make that go a lot easier?
I'm about to go through the Discord history and tell you how many times I've told you that we were going to do that.
Well, I don't have the best memory. Okay. Maybe I just remembered that, and it was like, this is my idea. I came up with this.
Yeah, we're going to do that eventually. It's just we got to have all the stuff up first. We got to have moderation too.
Yeah. So, and like another thing that would be cool is like, instead of people having to like take me on a Discord, is like if there was a report button on card pages, so that people could just like go, hey, this seems to be wrong with this card page, and then we could see that on the admin side and go in and fix it, stuff like that.
Well, fun fact.
What?
With the framework that went in, it would take a whopping 5 to 10 minutes to code that once the user accounts are up.
All right, so that's an instant use for the user accounts.
Yeah. Anyway, we've been on this one a little bit kind of long.
I actually just want to say one more thing. One idea I've had in my mind for forever, as I'm sure Scott can attest to, is once we get user accounts going, one of the things I really want us to be able to do is set up some sort of notification system. So basically, users would be able to sign up for notifications and specify what kind of notifications they want to get. And they get emailed or get push notifications whenever like a new card went up within their specifications. So like say you only care about Hero World. So you mark yourself down, you set yourself up for notifications, you set it to only notify you on Hero World, and now you'd get notified via an email every time a new Hero World card goes up.
Yeah, and like those, so you know how with Facebook, you don't even have to be on the site and it'll give you a little browser notification. We can try to do those too.
Yeah, that's what I meant by push notification.
Yeah. All right, so the next question. Brian asked how we managed to get the images of Japanese spoilers, and do we play any other card games besides Buddy Fight?
Well, that first thing is just a matter of like knowing where it gets, how it gets posted Japanese side. Like the primary source used to be Bredo Buddy, but like at some point, like a year or so ago, they struck some sort of deal with Korokoro. So now they never post full images anymore. So we have to find images like in the deep web of Japanese Twitter. Basically, Japanese Twitter is where we find all the images, or we find them from the card list on the official Japanese Buddy Fight website, or we pull them off of YouTube videos from the Korokoro or Buddy Fight Japanese YouTube. The really handy thing about Buddy Fight that other card games don't do is like Buddy Fight is smart and it's like, hey, this thing is going to be released. We know if we do not release this card list ahead of time, it is going to be leaked by someone who gets the product early. So we're going to publish the card list ourselves a couple days before the set actually comes out. And that's why you never see like early set leaks on Buddy Fight like you would in Vanguard, because Bushiroad just does it themselves.
Yeah, and if you look at other card games, like, for example, Magic the Gathering, they started taking that approach as well. They now release their set lists about half a week to a week before the set's actually released now.
Yeah. I don't understand why Vanguard doesn't do this too, because Vanguard still has like people getting product early, leaking the set lists when they could just be publishing it themselves. But as far as I understand, like from what I understand, the Vanguard database on the website isn't as good or as easy to navigate as the Buddy Fight one, so I wouldn't want to have to track through that anyways.
Now, to be fair, I think it is just Buddy Fight that does this, because on the Weiss side, cards are purposely waiting to be spoiled. Like there are some cards that Bushiroad specifically does not do reveals for, that they wait for it to be spoiled ahead of time, because they're like really high impact, and it's like, oh, well, that's a surprise. In fact, back in the day when Kantai Collection was first being released, one of the best cards in the set wasn't even spoiled by Bushiroad. It was spoiled by somebody opening stuff early.
Hi.
All right, so what was the second part of that question? All right, if we play any other card games.
Yeah.
Okay, so me personally, I am a card game fanatic. The whole reason I got into Buddy Fight in the first place is because I try literally every card game I hear of. So if a card game exists, and within the time frame of me actively playing trading card games, I've probably at least given it a shot.
Did you actually try Casters?
No, I have not tried Casters.
Good.
Like the exception is if the art style repulses me so much from the outset that I cannot be bothered, and that is the case with Casters.
I mean, I did send you those pictures just to showcase what exactly it was.
Yeah.
And they've doubled down on it. Now it's on non-foils.
Oh man.
Yeah, there's a specific TD card actually where it's on.
Oh, that's gross. That is
No
disgusting.
comment.
Okay. But yeah, the time that I really started playing trading card games was like around the time that Vanguard came out. So I've tried if card game existed during that time frame or came out after that point, then I have anything from 2011 or later. I have probably tried. Games I currently play would be Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, Trimon, well, I don't play Vanguard right now, but I'm getting back into Vanguard with the reboot. I'm very off and on with Vanguard. Like, Vanguard is very important to me because, like, it's what got me back. What got me seriously into card games in the first place. And me joining the V Monday community is what got me into being a competitive card game player at all. So I would not be here if it wasn't for V Monday, but like by the same token, I wouldn't have been toxic for the first couple of years for me being in the Wi-Fi community if it wasn't for V Monday. So, you know, give or take, give and take.
Double-edged sword.
Huh?
V Monday is a double-edged sword. That's what I said.
Yeah, yeah, basically. And of course, Buddy Fight, because I love Buddy Fight. I kind of want to get more into Dragon Ball Super because I like how that game looks. I'm really excited for a game I'm definitely going to be trying and definitely going to be pushing a bit is going to be Dominator, which is a card game by the Force of Will Company that's coming out in 2019. It was, well, it wasn't Kickstarter, but it was a Japanese equivalent of Kickstarter. I can't remember what it's called. But its game designer is the same guy who designed Buddy Fight, so I'm inherently interested from that alone.
What do you think about digital TCGs, like not just Trimon, but I mean like stuff like Hearthstone or
I love digital
Artifact that's coming out.
I love digital card games. I try every digital card game.
Okay, so you actually play every single one.
Digital card game.
Okay.
Like, if you look at my personal channel's history, like, you'll see, well, this is deleted, so no one will ever see this, but back, like, when Hearthstone was in beta, I had a video asking, hey, do you guys want me to do Hearthstone content? This was back when I was only a horrible Vanguard YouTuber, so, like, no one knew me back then. So that didn't happen, of course. But since then, I tried my hand at Shadowverse, Cardfight Online, and that was a thing. Eternal, and now Trimon. So I am big into digital card games, and I currently play Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. I intend to do something on my channel at some point with Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, but not right now.
I'm assuming you did not participate in the MTGA beta?
I got into the MTGA beta. I played it and I was like, I hate this interface so much. This only makes me hate Magic more.
I actually like the interface, but then again, I am a former Magic player as well. So.
I think it's fine if you've already played Magic, but I think for someone who's like using it to get into, like, I'm not completely fresh on Magic. Like, I did like try it very briefly back in 2011, 2012. But
around the time I played then.
But other than that, I haven't really played MTG, so I was basically coming in as a noob, and it was not a good interface for a new player.
I think they have a specific other thing that they want to do for new players that isn't that.
Yeah. All right. Next question.
We never got to the card games I play.
Oh, right, yes. Sorry, Scott.
Like 10 minutes on.
I'm sorry.
Well, much like Joel, I've played almost all of them pretty much, but the ones I currently play, that's kind of a hard way to word it. I don't like Buddy Fight, that's my main game, but I haven't played it since Grand Festival, so Yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and if you see me in the chat room saying I'm not good at this game, yeah, I play like once a
It's
year.
because he doesn't get a chance to play.
Yeah. Let's see. Trimon. I've been playing that. Well, I've been trying to play it, but I've been losing every single game almost. I'm salty.
Do you want to talk about some of the reasons why you don't like end up playing locally much, or would you rather not say that? Talk about that.
I don't think that's a thing you should cover right now.
Well, put simply, I just don't go because it's 60 miles.
Yeah.
65, something like that.
Yeah.
And my car has a major oil leak. If I put oil in it today, like if I were to go and put oil in it right now, by the time I get back in the door, there's no oil in it. I got that bad of a leak.
That's a problem.
Wow.
So that is the gist of why I don't go to locals, really.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I just can't go. So yeah. Duel Links, I kind of play it. I have a deck, Destiny Heroes, but yeah, I don't really get on often. So yeah, that's the gist of it. I've played almost everyone, but I only really play 3 now, kinda. So yeah. Oh, and Vanguard, I will be getting back into Vanguard. Just waiting for Shadow Paladin, hoping they don't kill my wallet again.
Scott, I think that is a false hope. Shadow Paladin isn't allowed to exist without being expensive.
Hey, I have hope in Trimon Shadow Paladins.
Well, they're giving away 2 cards for using.
If I can't do it with the real Shadow Paladins, I'll just play Fire.
Wait, why Fire?
Fire's the same place.
I don't know. I'm playing Lightning like it. I'm playing Lightning
Fire
with
is
Fire.
more Shadow Paladins than actual Shadow Paladins in Trimon. All right, so the next question. Are you guys thinking of creating similar sites to for other card games? Personally, I'm not, except for maybe Trimon. Maybe, not for sure.
Well, currently I am working on learning HTML and PHP stuff so that I can code a Vanguard site myself and actually be familiar with this stuff to potentially help on Buddyspoiler in the future, maybe, but maybe not. Who knows? Who knows what the future holds? But it's mainly for the Vanguard site so that that can happen. And so we aren't taking away time from the coding of Buddyspoiler.
Yeah. So next up, why is the logo for Buddyspoiler the generic cat monster? It has a name, you know. It's Cut Cat because Cut Cat's been my buddy since God knows how long. So I started with
Scott is a hipster and only played DD Robos and other generic
stop that. That's not being a hipster. That's called being generic.
Wow.
It's a generic card.
Am I wrong?
Yes. Anyways.
Well, you guys are going to laugh at me. My reasoning for liking generics is actually completely backwards and stupid, and looking back at it, I feel like a complete idiot right now. But I was like, these decks suck. They're never going to get hit by any kind of ban list.
Generics not getting hit by ban list.
Oh, the most likely to get hit. What was I thinking? I mean, yeah, they're going to get hit more than anything else. They're usable and everything. What was I thinking? So yeah, I'm an idiot.
Good job.
Again, I don't claim to be good at this game.
You played yourself.
Yeah.
No,
so
he
now
played
I'm in
Battle Robos.
Anyway, anyways, the answer to the actual question is it was just my buddy at the time, and it's my website. So yeah, it kind of just happened. Next question. Was there ever any other names for Buddyspoiler? Nope. Usually naming a website takes me days, maybe weeks or months of thinking. I just was like, Mythic Spoiler, Buddyspoiler, there we go.
We aren't creative people. If we find a name that's the instant we find a name that's that doesn't suck shit, we go, that's the one. We're not trying anymore. This was too hard as it is.
My general mindset was, no matter what I name the site, it can't be worse than the name Buddy Fight.
But then you made a site that's abbreviation was BS.
That was a prediction for chaos. Anyway, next question. Any features we really wanted to add to the site, but we just couldn't do it? Well, to be fair, we're still planning every feature that we've ever thought of adding. So
yeah,
it's just a matter of having the funding, getting it done. There's nothing that we've actually canceled before for the site that I'm aware of.
Correct.
So yeah, as long as we can possibly do it, as long as people want it, it will happen probably. Eventually, whenever we can.
Yeah.
Besides the new info I've already given you guys for the site, what other, or can I give any hints towards any other future things? Well, kind of, but not really. I'll just leave it at this. It may or may not happen, but I do know how to code Google Chrome extensions. I'm leaving it right there. Don't know if it'll happen, but there we go. Will old sets be added to the site soon? That's a case of we need volunteers that will actually do it, that have time to do it, because we all have lives. We spend enough time with, like, I'm always coding new stuff. You guys saw the new layout that I'm planning, that we're going to have soon. I've been learning how to do the coding for that because I'm completely self-taught in coding. I don't have anyone else to teach me. I just teach myself.
Yeah.
Actually, back in high school, when I took a web design class, I taught the teacher how to do more modern stuff because she was teaching outdated stuff from 10 years before. That's what happens when you use a really old textbook and not a new one.
Yeah.
So,
that tends to be the problem with coding classes, especially at the secondary or primary level.
Yeah, so I'm busy with coding. Joel has a life outside of adding cards. He has almost every
I
new
take
card.
on too many things as it is. Every once in a while, I'll have some free time and I'll just like belt out a set or two. Like when I have time to do old stuff, I'm basically the fastest person on the site. But you know,
Well, second fastest.
huh?
Second fastest.
Yeah, yeah.
You remember how fast Starcy fixed all that stuff? I don't think any of us could add those. Like what she added 800 cards in one night.
Was she adding those through the back end thing, or was she just like directly copying stuff from the old database and just plugging them into the like?
She was literally in the database copying and pasting stuff over.
Yeah, yeah. So obviously that's going to be way faster.
That's something only her and I can do. So
yeah.
But yeah, we need volunteers for it pretty much. We put out applications. The few we did hire, they ended up being taught how to do new stuff, and they're a backup for new stuff, but they don't really do the old stuff because, like, we've hired someone, and a week later they got a job. We hire someone, a week later they start school. I mean, we can't control that. It's not predictable, so I'm not blaming them. But
if anyone wants to apply to help us get old cards up, please.
Send us a message to Facebook, and we can actually add you to the team. I call dibs on Joel training you.
God damn it.
No comment.
You knew I was going to say that.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Are you proud on how the website is now? Yeah, kind of. I mean, it's a lot bigger than I ever imagined it would be, and it lasted longer than I ever imagined, so that's something. So, like we said earlier, Joel has known me for 11 years. Have you managed to count how many websites I've made and ditched?
No, I have no clue. I don't even like I don't even have memory of what like 90% of your sites were even about. So I don't know.
A good 50 of them were new Bakugan forums.
Okay.
At least 3 were Yu-Gi-Oh! Probably a good 10 Pokemon ones. Because I didn't want to redesign the old one, I wanted to just make a new one. If you ever go to SaiScott.com, you'll see that the design for it is changing constantly. I'm still not happy with the design, and I still keep changing it. Either new colors, new layout. Yeah. So this is actually my longest, or most successful website. It's the one that stuck the longest. Second longest only lasted about 2 or 3 months. So yeah, we're doing pretty good here.
Does that include Dragon Oracle?
Wait, what was that again?
Dragon Oracle.
Oh, I forgot I even made that.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that lasted like 3 or 4 months.
I mean, it lasted longer than that because I think we started in either March or May. We started way before the game was released.
Yeah.
And had literally no information on it for who knows how long.
We may at some point. We stopped at some point during set 2 spoilers, I think.
Yeah, but like I had the demo decks for that game 2 months before the caravan started, so 2 months before Grand Fest. And yeah, I had the site up before then. I know that much because we had the rules up a good month or 2 before I had my cards. So
yeah, because someone PM'd us. We already had the site up at that point when the initial stuff, like when the initial event happened where it got shown off, I believe. Or we got it up during that time. And someone got into contact with us who knew someone who had been at the convention where Dragoborn was first shown off, and we got scans of the demo decks and the rules from them, and yeah.
Now, when we first started that site, we couldn't for the life of us ever call a game by its own name. We always called it by the website's name, and here Joel is still doing it.
Yes, that's the thing that kept happening. But I'm not surprised you didn't even remember Dragon Oracle, because like I'd rather forget it too, considering everything. So
Yeah, but that's not a topic for this channel. That's a topic for a ranting channel.
Yeah.
All right. So, was there ever a time you wanted to stop doing Buddyspoiler? Oh, that's a hard to answer question. It has its ups and downs. Sometimes when I don't know how to explain this. Sometimes there's these times where I see people doing things and it makes me feel a little bit unappreciated, but I usually get through them within the next like 5 hours, so it never lasts. Any negative feelings I have, it just doesn't last really. So yeah, I don't regret the site at all. It's one of the best things I've done personally. It makes me feel like I'm not a potato. Rewards for having a user account on Buddyspoiler. There's gonna be badges for your accounts and whatnot. You can earn badges for just playing the game really. Like, for example, Austin's gonna have badges right away just for his track record and worlds and all that stuff. Joel's gonna have badges for that kind of stuff. If you do contests on our Discord, there's badges for that. Patreon, like 3 months, 6 months, so on. There's badges for that. So yeah, there's a lot of rewards for that you will have on your account. But for having just for having the account, you won't have a reward, but you can earn rewards to show off on the account. Yeah. Do you have any plans on Buddy Fight video game coverage? When we get articles, yes, because then we'll have an easy way to post all that information.
Yeah.
Especially on the mobile game, we really want to cover that.
Yes. Definitely will be doing something like that. I could do stuff with the 3DS games, like when I get a better computer so that I could stream stuff without crashing. Because I do have a ROM of the most recent 3DS game. So I could do something with that. I might do something with that. We'll see in the future. Just not in the cards right now because I need a better computer before I can stream the 3DS games.
It would help if Firefox and Chrome didn't kill computers.
Yeah. That would be helpful.
Yeah. But that looks like all the questions. We actually managed to catch up.
All right. Bren, is there any like general rules stuff that you want to answer since like we didn't really get any questions about the rules?
Any rule stuff? Like pass me one. Like I'm not sure what you're asking.
Like, is there any like general rules stuff that you would like to talk about? Like questions that people ask a lot because we didn't really get any rules questions in the chat.
Overturn sucks. It is probably the biggest ruling headache since
Athora?
oh goodness. I want to say Hyakugan.
Hyakugan wasn't that big of a headache.
Well, it's not a big headache now, but I think before there was all these questions about can you summon it when it's calling a size 3 monster, or when can you do this if you have one part of it and you don't have the other? I was like, oh, what does it mean when it's like if you have two of the same field, can you still run it because they're the same evil? Like, oh goodness, there was a lot of questions like that, and a lot of the questions for Athora sound like that, sound similar in a way, except they're a lot more legitimate because it's a lot more confusing.
Yeah, and because Athora actually changed how some things worked.
Not necessarily. I mean, Athora's overkill just basically told us that it could be used there.
No. I'm just talking about the X attack keywords because they just changed how those keywords worked.
It was never a point of you wanted to attack less, though.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like. The one that people are that probably don't know as much because Athora got a lot of attention because of how many rulings and judge misplays and disqualifications, all of that fun stuff in Worlds, right?
Yeah.
So that happened, but not many people were paying attention to the one that also caused a lot of issues, which was the overturn on Quixote.
Oh.
Because that has pretty much the same problem. You can get if you're in a world.
Oh, we were just confused about the timing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Basically, like if you. Okay, so let's say that the opponent nullifies the attack, right?
Sorry, I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. Anyways, if the opponent nullifies the attack and then you go to use the overturn, because they nullified the attack, that's disqualifiable or you game loss for you, because the biggest problem here is that you only activate it when the game tries to nullify, not when the card tries to nullify. So if you cast a nullify and yeah, I'm not sure how else to describe it, but yeah, that one caused a lot of issues as well. We did get a rulings question. If a player casts World Pandemic and turns the Chaos flag face down, the Chaos player casts the Chaos upgrade to put Infinity on top of the flag, gets World Pandemic again, and then activates upgrade again. Since the Chaos is under Infinity's face down, would upgrade flip it face up? Yes, it would. Not only that, but it would switch back to the original Chaos. And now Chaos upgrade would be face down underneath the flag. And you could do this ad infinitum if the opponent kept using Pandemic. So the rulings question. Effectively, yes, that is legal, and you do
Alright, sorry,
basically get to flip the chaos back on top of chaos to infinity. I was just answering the rulings question that was on the chat.
Okay.
Anyway, since you left, just reiterating to you that the proper timing for the El Quijote overturn is when the game tries to nullify the attack and not when the card tries to nullify the attack. I think there has been already a game loss for trying to do the overturning correctly for that card. So.
Okay.
So, like, if your opponent casts a shield spell, like to nullify the attack, and you overturn in response or overturn like immediately right after, that's a game loss.
All right.
You have to proceed to the area where nobody has any counters, and then when the game tries to nullify it, that's when you overturn.
Okay. I actually did not know that about that, but
yeah, that and
El Quijote is worded the way El Quijote is worded. It should be sorry.
It says when the attack link attack.
It should be like a continuous trigger. It should okay. So I guess the game doesn't actually nullify until is it during the resolution of the card that nullifies it?
No, when the game tries to tries to see if the attack hits, that's when it tries to.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
So it's basically the step after all the counter steps.
Okay, so why was that causing disqualifications?
Because it was the same ruling as the author thing. You tried to do the overturn incorrectly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And in a world level tournament or like a high level tournament, it matters.
All right.
Of course, I took those rulings and then thought that, okay, well, then I guess that means you can use overturn overkill anywhere, where Japan had to step in and basically tell me, nope, that's not how it works. Overturn and overkill are effectively counter timings, and unless there's a specific time that they're supposed to be used, then they have to obey all counter timing rules outside of the fact that you can use one counter per chain. So yeah.
Okay, so we just got just gonna interrupt what the stream is supposed to be about, because we did just get a bit more information about what's going to be in Korokoro from Retubuddy.
Okay, this is news to me.
So basically, we now know that the first set of the new season is going to release in Japan on July 5th. Which, you know, falls in where I expect it to be because the summer booster set always happens in early July.
Which means that for us, it's going to be releasing July 27 then, right? Or 20?
No, it should be July 19th if it's the
on a Thursday
behind.
Would it be on Thursday?
Is that Thursday?
July 5 is a Thursday.
That's a Thursday?
Yes. So
that is 20th, weird. Right? What the heck?
Yeah.
What the heck is going on there? And the other thing that is very important is there seems to be some sort of price increase happening. So this
price increase?
Yes. So this might be similar to what happened to Vanguard last year, where they changed how sets were structured. Are you aware of what happened there?
Yeah, I'm aware because Weiss had the exact same change around the same time.
Okay. So something like that might be happening.
In Weiss's case, they increased the pack prices by $1, and then changed the layout so that it's 9 cards, and that the 9th slot is now reserved for where the double Rs are. Yeah. It's possible
it would probably be closer to the Vanguard change if
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, because Buddy Fight had the same structure as Vanguard did before the change. It happened at GBT 11, I believe. Yeah, that's the set where it happened. Demonic
11, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So let me just pull this up real quick on my end so that I can compare right. So the overall set size did not change. What changed was So pack size changed from 5 cards to 7 cards. And 2 cards in every pack are rare or higher. And some packs included 2 double rare, and some included 1 triple rare and 1 double rare, but never 2 triple rare. Let me see if I can find the details on it.
Yep, that's really similar to what happened in Weiss, like I mentioned earlier.
And I believe the case size changed as well. The case size changed from 16 boxes to 20 boxes, if I'm recalling correctly.
Not 100% sure on that
one. And the number of packs per box also changed.
Interesting.
It was from it went from 30 to, I believe, 16, and boxes were I think that I can't remember all the details because this wasn't around the time I was kind of tuning out. Okay, here's an article on Card Fight Coalition. Okay, so you get changed to
do we know what worlds are in?
Okay, so the ratio change was plus 18 triple rares, which was a plus 1.3 per different triple rare, plus 28 double rares, which was plus 1.7 different of each different double rare, plus 101 rares, which was plus 2.9 per different rare, and minus 330 commons, which was a decrease of 3.6 different commons.
Vanguard doesn't have uncommons, do they? Right?
Huh? No, they don't have uncommons.
Yeah, I'm wondering how that's going to affect, because Buddy Fight works uncommon.
We have no clue which one.
I think it's going to be a mix of both Vanguard and Weiss, because Weiss has uncommons, but they don't have triple Rs. So I think it's going to be a mix of the two.
Yeah, so the pack price increased when this happened, but the per box price decreased. And cases costed the same. But all it says here from everybody is that the price is going up. So we don't have a lot to assume from.
Okay. Do we know anything else, I guess, from now? Do we know, for example, what worlds are going to be in that?
No, we have no clue. We'll probably find out when we get the inside of the Koro, but right now we do not know.
Okay. And I'm assuming because it's Koro, this is 2 weeks in advance of their actual release?
No, the Koro releases on the 15th of each month. This is Koro posting its own cover art on Twitter. Well, Buddy Fight doing it. Buddy Fight posting the cover art. Yeah. Wait, or is this the page that Shin Buddy Fight is actually featured on? I don't know. I think it might actually just be the page that Shin Buddy Fight is featured on. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I think it's just the page that Shin Buddy Fight is featured on. But this is just advertising, hey, Buddy Fight information is going to be in Koro releasing on the 15th. It'll probably leak on someone's Twitter in the Japanese Twitter sphere a couple days ahead of that. So yeah. I'm just getting this information up real quick. Scott, I'm about to get this information up. When I do, can you post it around? All right. All right. The full control page is updated, Scott. So if you can post that around, that'd be great. All right. Yes, on to the thing that I am here to really talk about. A couple weeks ago at this point, my friendo X-Master PM'd me about the old Team Yoden Goalers banner that Scott made way back in the day, talking about a BFA area team league that he wanted to start up. And I was like, hey, I want to get in on that. That would be a cool thing to have Buddyspoiler help support and like get some content on our channel for streams and stuff. And we worked out the kinks and launched it last Friday for signups. So right now, I'm going to tell you guys the details about the BFA Team League. Let me just get this doc on share so that people watching the stream can see it. Okay. That should be doing it. Let me just check. Yeah, okay. So the BFA Team League is basically just a community thing that we're doing where you'll join up with 2 or 3 of your friends to make a 3 or 4 person BFA area team to participate in league matches, exhibition fights, and team tournaments to earn points and qualify for the league finals. I'll explain what all that is about as we go through this. To register, it's very simple. You just click through to this registration Google form, and you just have to fill in your team name, the name of your team leader, and the other 2 members of your team, and then the optional 4th member of your team, and add the team banner image file there if you want to have one. It is not necessary, and once you've done so, you will be added to the team listing doc here, and we will keep up all the information in here for you. So yeah. If you do not already have a team, even if you have a team, you've got to join one of these Discords to keep up with the news that's happening with the Team League. And each of these Discords has a team search channel to find a team. And you can find this doc linked in the team news channel in the Buddyspoiler Discord, which is linked in the description below. Yeah. Yes. And if you'd like to recruit new members for an already established team, say you only have 3 members or one of your team members leaves or whatever, you can make a recruitment post on the team league, on the team search channel, stating any guidelines for people you want to add. For fight formats, fights will be done in 3 different formats: Standard, Gunslinger, and Conquest. In Standard, you assign each of your 3 fighters to a slot, and they will fight the other team's member in that slot. The team that has the most winners at the end of those 3 games is the victor. If there's a tie, at any point, then the two winners. Wait, actually, this doesn't make sense. I need to rewrite this. It should just be if there's a tie, then there's a rematch there to figure it out. Gunslinger is you still assign 3 fighters to ABC slots. First fight will be A versus A, as in Standard, and whoever wins will continue to fight the next game, and the loser gets knocked out. And if game ends in a tie, rematch will be done. The team to first run out of fighters loses. And Conquest is basically the inverse of Gunslinger. So instead of the player who wins moving on, the player who loses will move on. So the idea with Conquest is that you cannot win Conquest off of the back of one strong fighter. You're only able to win if every member of your team is able to pull out a win, and the winning team is the one who has all 3 of their fighters win a game first. Now, the 3 competition types are league matches, exhibition fights, and team tournaments. League matches are basically if you have registered by the start of a month, basically the team league will be run in seasons, which will be split into 3 months. In this case, since we are starting in May, we are adding May as a 4th month, starting a bit later in the month. So there won't be as much stuff going on as there typically would be. And words. Basically, if you're registered at the start of a month season, you will be scheduled. Every team will be scheduled for a number of matches throughout the month. And these scheduled matches will be split evenly across the 3 fight formats, and each registered team will be scheduled for the same amount of matches. And these matches will be live streamed with commentary on YouTube, on the Buddyspoiler channel, by Jacoby's channel, and X Crusher's channel, who are the main. We are the main 3 people who are coordinating the team league. For your point earnings, for the rank listings, for down here in team league rankings. Each game won will reward that team 5 points, and winning that match will reward the team 30 points. So the league matches, even though they are much more limited, are where the majority of your points could be coming from because of that 30-point bonus to the victor team. Exhibition fights come in 2 forms. They can be done any amount of times during a month, and can be done at any time. Just make sure to report them to one of the organizers. Standard challenges are, there's nothing special going on here. Each game won will reward that team 5 points, and a team can only earn a maximum of 50 points through exhibition fights per month. And wager challenges are the same deal, but each team wagers the same amount of points. And the loser loses that many points, and the winner gains that many points. And for team tournaments, once every 2 weeks, we will be holding a team tournament, which will have pretty high point turnouts, as long as we have a decent amount of participation. The prize pool will be 10 points per participating team, and the winner will automatically qualify for finals, the league finals, which is what all these points are for in the first place. The league finals will happen at the end of each season, and you qualify by either winning a team tournament or by placing high enough in the rankings for a month. And these will be run the same as team tournaments, except the competition type will be run it'll be run the standard fight format, except each matchup, so like A versus A, B versus B, C versus C, each of those will be best of 3. So it's a more competitive environment overall. And we plan to have some sort of further prizing, but at this moment, we do plan to at least have every team that qualifies for the league finals will have a custom-made team banner by SaiScott. And top placing teams will earn points moving into the next season, or will automatically qualify for the next league finals depending on their placement. And finally, the rookie bonus is a system we have in place so that people aren't discouraged to join in the middle of a month. So basically, if you enter after the league matches for the month have been scheduled, you won't be able to get league matches for that month. But rookie teams who place highly among the rookie teams will get bonus points to start the next month, depending on how they placed. But if you do qualify for league finals, despite being a rookie, you will not get the rookie bonus. You won't need it anyways because you've already qualified. And last thing, this is something that we implemented just last night after a poll. To avoid loops ruining the tournament environment, we've applied a few erratas for the team league, as well as put the regular list into effect immediately. So the erratas in question are: continue can only be played once per turn, because if you stop continue from being played once per turn, more than once per turn, you completely kill the dungeon loop deck that's been going around, and that's not a fun deck to play against. So like, Serge just eliminated from the tournament environment. Professor Menjo instructions Cosmo Tactic, which is the impact Professor Menjo, has been given a name for its ability, and the text: if you gained another turn, Cosmic Lecture cannot be activated for the rest of the game. Great Spell My Grandfather Clock has been given a once per game restriction as well, and Actinize the World has also been given its complete dominance ability a once per game condition. The league matches for this first month will start happening. They will start happening. Sorry. Okay, stop. Those will start happening on. We will be scheduling those this weekend, and they will start happening next week. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yeah. I think that's all. Sorry. I lose myself a bit when I'm talking about myself on a stream. Got to keep going endlessly. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. As Scott said in the chat, if you're interested in a Buddyspoiler shirt, we have them up on Teespring. The league matches for Team League will start happening next week. Sign up in the form thing if you want to sign up. I'm going to try and get something set up so that those of you who are searching for a team and don't have a team. Yes, that should be it. Yes. Okay. Okay, that was a bit hectic, but yeah. See you guys later.
So that's it.
Yeah, that's it.